Yo, what's up guys, I'm Cherries and welcome to a new video. If you didn't know, we recently hit 5,000 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for that. On a community post, I asked you guys if you were interested in a QA video with questions related to either Runescape or me, and to leave your questions in there. So today we're going to be answering those questions, and if you didn't know about this and you'd like to have your question answered, make sure to leave it down in the comments and I'll reply to your comment with the answer to your question. The first question is, what's your favorite activity outside of gaming? Well, there's an obvious answer here, and that is video making. You've seen my channel, so I'm not gonna get too much into it. Other than that, I really like to spend time with the GIF, friends, and family. I really like business in general as well. I like coming up with ideas and then doing whatever I can to bring them into reality. Things like the business side of YouTube and streaming, I really enjoy. And there's also a little thing that I've been working on that you're probably gonna hear about pretty soon. Even though I'm not great at it, I also enjoy doing graphic design. Pretty much everything in the channel I've made myself, other than the emotes and the channel badges that I actually hired a professional artist to do because I'm really not that talented. But everything else in the channel, I've pretty much done myself. As for outdoor activities, I really enjoy water skiing and wakeboarding, although I haven't done it in a really long time, so I should probably go do that soon. The next question is, would you like to start an Ironman account? If not, what would they have to change to the mode to make it more interesting for you to play? Ironman mode is really not my thing. I enjoy the idea of it, but the tediousness of having to get everything yourself kind of annoys me and kind of just pushes me off of it. I think what annoys me the most is PVM supplies. I don't want to spend an hour or two every couple of hours of PVM just gathering the ingredients to make my supplies. That just is something that I don't enjoy. On the other hand, what I would enjoy would be having to get the actual drops from bosses by myself, and I have thought of making a series about this where I can just buy anything in the G except for anything that is dropped from a boss. I think it'd be kind of interesting, and maybe we're gonna have to go and do that after Golden Reaper. The next question is a two-parter. What's your most memorable moment while playing RuneScape 3, both bad and good? For good ones, I think there's a lot of them. Maxing was definitely one of them, and getting my trim completionist cape was another one as well. More recently, I did finish the next log, and that was kind of like the beginning to the Road to Golden Reaper series, which was an amazing feeling, and it's kind of evolved into something awesome as well. One of the luckiest moments I've ever had, and I've talked about this before if you watch every single episode, it was at Twin Theories, and I was missing 3 drops for the log. It was a pet and both of the blades. I got the pet and one of the blades on the same drop, and then back to back I got the other blade. And that was the full title. I just claimed the pet and spammed the global chat. As for bad ones, I have been hacked before and pretty much everything was taken from my account. Even the untradables were dropped or destroyed, which in my opinion is just cruel. Like, what do you have to gain from that? But I think the worst one has to be when I was killing tormented demons, and Death's Office wasn't even a thing. So I died and my grave went on the ground. At this point, I had something like 6 minutes to get back, and there were no teleports to get there quickly. So I ran back and I saw my stuff on the ground. As soon as I was going to pick it up, a tormented demon got on me, and for some reason I didn't bring any food. I just didn't think I had time to go to the bank and get food, and the tormented demon killed me, and I just saw my grave fall on the ground and the other one despawn with all my stuff in it. Now at that point, your stuff doesn't go away when you double grave. The stuff goes on the ground and it's there for anyone to pick up. Or I think it lasts for like a minute and a half and then it'll despawn. So I ran back as quickly as I could, and I got there as soon as my stuff disappeared. So I saw it despawn, and it was horrible. That was like my whole bank. I had full bandos. I probably had like a chaotic mall or something. It was just terrible. But I've always had this mentality where if you lose everything, it's just an opportunity to rebuild and make something out of it. So I just had a blast getting everything back. The next part of that question is, what's been the most valuable thing you have learned from your community? Doesn't have to be RS3 related. Honestly, the best thing I've learned is just how awesome you guys are. And more importantly, and this applies to everything, not just for people who have a community as a YouTuber or anything like that. And that is a two-part thing. The first one is to just distance yourself from people that are toxic or that are hurting you in any way. Just ignore them, get away from them, and just focus on the people that are positive and that are actually bringing something to the table. Those are the people that you have to focus on. The second part is to learn how to laugh at yourself, and then nobody can laugh at you. They have to laugh with you. If you look at the comments, whenever I get a mean comment, I don't delete it or anything. I just make a joke out of it. And people usually don't know how to respond to that. They get angry that you're laughing at their mean comment and it just goes away. I think that's the most valuable thing I've learned from my community. The next question is, how did you get into content creation? What made you want to start a YouTube channel for your content? And the answer to this is just, I like making videos. I like sharing my experience. I like sharing my knowledge, and I like seeing people react to it and actually learning something from what I have to say. I've been making videos for as long as I can remember. I think my first YouTube channel I made, I think like 12 years ago. It was on tips and tricks for things that you can do with your Mac. So I would just record myself on the webcam on my laptop and make videos on things that you can do with like fun apps and things that you can do on your computer. That channel and those videos are actually still up there, so if you guys think you can find it, go right ahead. From there, I've had like 3 or 4 more YouTube channels, and I've actually made videos on this very channel on 3 or 4 different occasions. I think this is the most that I've lasted. I think it's been like 7 or 8 months with consistent uploads, and I've been having a blast, so I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Next question is, what do you do for work or school? I actually graduated 3 years ago from computer science and telecommunications, so that's my major, and right now I just work full-time. Next question is, what do you think about the current combat meta? Is Mage OP after the patch they want to do to the spec of the tier 95 staff? What is the worst style in your opinion, and what are your thoughts on death costs? Okay, there's a couple of parts to this question, so let's go one by one. What do you think about the current combat meta? After the Staff of Armadale and the new spells, I think it's pretty balanced. The Gricko nerf made range a little bit worse, and I think they're preparing for the buff that is gonna get whenever we get the tier 95 range weapon, whether that's a bow or crossbows. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a bow. They've been working towards it with a new ring from Rex Matriarchs, and crossbows are already as OP as they need to be, so I think it's gonna be a bow. Overall, I think it's been a long time since the combat styles have been this balanced, and I think it's at a good spot right now. They just need to keep it going like this. What is the worst style in your opinion? In my opinion, the worst style is Mage, DPS wise, although I'm no expert. As you guys know, I melee everything, and I'm pretty darn good with melee, but not with the other two, so I am in no position to tell you guys which is the best style. I just love melee, and I do think it has a really big weakness, and that's of course the fact that you have to stay melee distance, and at very many bosses that becomes a disadvantage really quickly. So the fact that melee has lower damage than ranged, and it has a disadvantage that you have to stay at melee distance while dealing with mechanics, is pretty bad. I don't want to say melee is the worst style of them all, but I'd say it's a lot harder to learn than the other two. Finally, the last part of this question is, what are your thoughts on death costs? I do think they need to be changed. I don't think they need to be removed altogether, but I do think they need to be less punishing. As you guys probably know as well, I die a lot, and I die a lot without the Ring of Death too. Even though I bring it everywhere, very often I die without it. So I have paid billions in deaths, and I think I enjoy the game a little bit more if I didn't pay, I don't know, like 40 mil whenever I'm learning a new boss, because I'm just very stubborn and I have to bring like every switch and have like a 10 million death and then die over and over again without my Ring of Death. I do think I'd enjoy the game more if that didn't happen. That said, I think there's a million people more qualified than me to give ideas on death costs. I think Jagex has to know at this point that something has to be done about it, and they're probably talking about it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it came either this year or early next year. This next question is my favorite one, and this is very important for anyone that plays RuneScape. What motivates you to keep playing, and how do you stop from burning out? The answer to this question is very simple. The earlier you realize there's nothing you have to do, the more fun you're gonna have in the game. You don't have to do your dailies, you don't have to train whatever skill, you don't have to kill whatever boss. Just get in the game and do whatever you feel like doing that day. What stops me from burning out? Well, what I do is I set a big goal, and then I set a bunch of smaller goals, and then I work on whatever goal I feel like working on that day. I don't do Reaper tasks, I don't do Biswalks, I don't do ports, I don't do anything that I don't want to do. It is very easy to burn yourself out when you feel like you have to do certain things. For example, raids. You have to loot every 2 days, and since I'm going for Golden Reaper, I pretty much have to loot every 2 days, otherwise it's gonna take forever to finish that collection log. But if I have my resets available and I can go do raids and I don't feel like doing it, I'm just not going to. Even if it takes longer, I just go and do whatever I find fun at that moment. And if I don't feel like playing RuneScape that day, I just don't. I don't log in. I don't get in the game and walk around for a few seconds just to log out a few minutes after and then do nothing at all. If I don't feel like playing, then I just don't play. Like I said, set yourself a goal and then work towards it with whatever you find fun. Because if you try to do everything as efficiently as possible and you save all this time and then you end up being burnt out and stop playing for like 2 months, then where did all that time that you saved go? It just took longer. Just take your time, do it in a fun way, and you'll get there eventually. The next question is, how did you get into RuneScape originally? And that's a quick answer. I found it on Miniclip. One of my older cousins wanted to play, and so we just made an account. And funny story here. When we started playing, there was no lobby. You had to select a world from the website, and you would just click like find the best world for me. And we didn't know that, of course. We just logged into the game and we were sitting in Lumbridge in the exact same spot. We added each other in our friends list and we could see that we were online, but we couldn't find each other in the world. We spent like half an hour trying to figure out what was happening and we just couldn't. We just couldn't figure it out. So we got annoyed and we stopped playing that very day. A couple weeks later, I picked it back up and here we are 15 years later. Next question is a four-parter and I already answered the first two, which is how long have you been playing? I think about 15.5 years since I made my account. Of course, as every other RS player, it's been an on and off thing. How did you start? Already answered that one. Favorite non-combat skill or content and why? That's also an easy answer. My favorite content that is not PVM related is Big Game Hunter, of course. I think all skilling should be like that. It's a sort of boss encounter, but not really. You're not really risking anything, but you have a lot to gain. It's fun, it's engaging. That's definitely the best content outside of PVM that I can think of. Finally, the fourth question we've already been over as well. What did you study or studying or have work interest as? We already went over that one. So next question. So the next one is, what should be the next 120s and what would you like to see added or reworked? As for the next 120, I don't know, nor do I think it matters. The rework they did with the mining and smithing skill was amazing, and they didn't bring those up to 120. So I don't think it matters. Whatever they pick for 120, as long as it has fun and engaging content in between the levels, I think is a good thing. As for reworks, as you probably know, I'm not really a skiller, but there's a couple of skills that don't bring much to the table after you get into 99, and just because you have to get into 99, things like construction, agility, even like wood cutting and fire making don't really bring much to the table. So if they rework those, I think they could add fun things that you could do in the middle. Going back to Big Game Hunter, maybe fishing could use a skilling boss, or maybe you can have a skilling boss that works with combat as well. So maybe it's a duo encounter and one of the person just trains fishing and the other one does the combat. Something like that I think would be really fun. And finally, we get to the last question, which is, do you enjoy any other games? Is this main the only account you play? I do enjoy other games. As I've said before in live streams, I don't get much free time, so I do like to spend most of my time on RuneScape trying to go for Golden Reaper whenever I can. But if I'm not feeling like playing RuneScape, I do like to play Rocket League, and most of my gaming that is not RuneScape happens on mobile. And there's a game called Brawl Stars, which I really enjoy, and I would really recommend you guys try it out. It's fun. As for the other part of this question, is this main the only account you play? And the answer to that is yes. I do have a couple other accounts, but I don't really use them at all. I have an Iron Man, which is really low level, and I just didn't really enjoy playing. I have a low level account, which I made when I got one of my friends to play, so I was just playing with him at his level, but then he caught up and I just played with him on my main. And a couple other accounts that I've used for other things, but no, the main is pretty much the only thing I play. Anyways guys, that's it for the QA. Thank you so much for 5,000 subscribers. I hope you enjoyed and you have your questions answered. If there's any other questions that you have, like I said at the beginning, leave them down in the comments and I'll respond them down there. And even if you don't have any questions, you might want to check out the comment section and there might be some other answers in there. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. There's not going to be a Golden Reaper episode this week, but the new boss is coming out on Tuesday and we're going to be doing that all week. So next Saturday, the episode should be really good. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.